Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. And also, I hope you can hear me. Can you let me know if you can hear me, guys? Or if we have an issue? Right. Hopefully, you're going to hear me. And let's start the live today. As always, guys, I would like to thank you so much for your time to spend to watch the live. I'm really pleased for that. And as always, we're gonna have the halftime of the live dedicated on the engineers, and the other half of the live it's dedicated to the homeowners. There are two main things we would like to service here, and I will start actually the first 10, 20 questions for the customers. All that questions they send it from the customers to me the last week. And as always, the first question is when was the last time you had your boiler service? When I make these questions to the customers, normally they say quite recently. When you say recently, is there any chance we can find any copy, because it's very good to compare the data or sign off the book? The customers, they realize they have left the boiler more than 1 year without any service. And if the boiler is brand new, that means the service, the guarantee is invalid. So we have to be very, very careful with this one. Also, I noticed that when, for example, we have an oil boiler or the gas boiler with separate cylinder, the people go there, do the service on the boiler, but they don't have a look. They don't check if there is any cylinder, if there is any filling loop, if there is something. The person who lives in the house has to, it's important to know. And getting really, really serious now is not getting funny. Initially, I thought it will be funny, but when you go to the people's houses to do the gas boiler service, always I would like to have the view 360 of the whole heating system. For example, I would like to explain to the customer that this is the underfloor heating. That's the key things we have to have a look. Also, this is the cylinder. That's the key things we have to have a look. And this is the radiators, this is the valves, and this is the filling loop. The filling loop is critical. The customer know where that is and how to top up. I see a lot of people actually, they don't pay the necessary attention. Just go there, search the boiler, disappear, and the customer feel okay because whatever he thinks did the boiler include everything for him, even the hot water, but it's not quite right. As a company, personally, I'm not sure if I am the only company. Definitely, I'm pretty sure there are other companies as well. When we go to visit the property, the very big companies, by the way, they don't do that. I can confirm. The big companies, I mean, some companies everybody knows, more than 100 years in the UK, they don't do that. When they say gas boiler, they do only the gas boiler. When they say the LPG boiler, only the LPG boiler. They don't touch something else. They don't advise you for something else. And they don't really interesting, to be honest with you. As a result, when we go for the boiler service, we always include the cylinder service. The reason we do that is because, first of all, it's legal to check it, because the unvented hot water cylinders can be very dangerous if you not maintain it. They also lose the warranty. And also the customers have to be aware that has to be part of the service as well. And we offer the same price anyway. That's not important. The most important is to be done. As a result, be very careful, guys. When you say, can you service my boiler, please include the central heating system, the vented or unvented hot water cylinder, and make the necessary questions. Where's the filling loop? And how we can check the quite basics. And what makes me alert, for example, if you see the tank is dripping water, it's something has to be done. Right. The next question I would like to do to the customers is, do you know which chemical products protect the heating system and run smoothly the system? It's something I never see actually on the reports of the engineers. Very rare some companies they included. As a SKAN heating, we decide to do properly. For example, when you go for the boiler service, first of all, if there is a cylinder that's included on separate certificate, and now on, we supply a third certificate. The third certificate is a certificate of the condition of the liquids. We check 3 dimensions of the liquids. What's the corrosion of the system? What's the inhibitor protection of the system? And what's the pH of the system? All those 3 things has to be checked and issue separate certificate as well. I will try to show you my application, which I use for the last 10 days or a week, to show you the results of what I found of the visits I did. You will be surprised, but the majority of the visits, it was faulty. I'm not sure if I can do on the camera, but just let you know that the red one is faulty, the green one is pass. Certainly, I'm not sure if I can do it that. Anyway, certainly, the majority of the installation which I checked, they didn't have even 100 grams for inhibitor. This one happens, first of all, because someone's never did. Secondly, someone's never checked. And third, even if you fit in some point of your installation, if you add in some point of the installation inhibitor, that not last more than 4 or 5 years, has to redo. It's a very complicated thing, and I would like to do another video, but the way we test the inhibitor has to be the general test to check if we have an inhibitor, not just to buy, for example, the test papers which check only the Fernox one, or we check only the I don't like to say companies, but separate single companies only. We have to buy the very ones. Now, the other thing I would like to say is that have you ever received any certificate for this check from the inhibitor checks? It's also very important to ask. The customers, when I say all that stuff, they told me, Yanis, we never hear something for certificate or something else. Let me grab one of the applications and I will come back to you. So I did try to find one, but I don't have with me right now. But anyway, every company has his own paper, pH paper. You can take a little sample for the central heating system, dip it in and see whatever color you have. You compare with the color code and you can see if we have adequate inhibitor or not. Sometimes, because some companies use different protection systems, maybe you cannot pick up if there is any other protection way. Also, if we mixed up, that is not always the best strategy, to be honest with you. Of course, for nothing, it's better to have something, even if you mixed up technologies. Let's go to the next question. Yes, how can I tell if the radiator has air or sludge inside? Yes, that's a very common question, and I'm really interested to answer that because it's every time question for the customer. When the radiators, for example, that are very cold on top and hot in the bottom, definitely that means that we have air, because the air goes up to the highest point of the installation, and as a result, we have to bleed it. When we have a sludge, yes. When we have a sludge, the works the other way around. The top part of the radiator getting hot, and the bottom part from the radiator stay cold. Very basic stuff, just to answer to your question, guys, because the question's now getting a lot, but I would like to answer. So, fourth question, what signs show that the system is losing pressure? Yes, the most obvious is that, for example, if we have to top up the system up to 5-6 times a year, yes, definitely we lose some pressure, but it's unacceptable standards. But if we have to do every week or every day, then really that's something we have to take care. A little disclaimer for all the videos we do, and I will do right now, I have to do before we start actually, is that here we have to mention that any action has to be taken on the boilers or the cylinders, unvented hot water cylinders. Only certified people can do. As a homeowners, you are here just to understand what's happened, not to touch your boiler. It's not allowed by the regulations. If you do that, you take in a very, very risk situation yourself and your family. And to be honest, even the neighbors. So whatever we discuss here is just if someone wants to touch the boiler, has to be certified engineer. If not, if you are not certified engineer, it's not allowed. And we have to highlight in this channel. The next thing is, the next question is, when should the expansion vessel be checked? Right, a very interesting question as well. The expansion vessel, if we're talking about the central heating system, has, I think, pre-charged with 1 bar, 0.7 to 1 bar, the external one. The internal one, 0.75 bars, of course, plus minus 2.5, 0.5. We don't actually need to check in every service, but after the 6-7 years, it's very important to check what's the condition. And there is another factor, and this one probably is very interesting for you engineers as well, guys, that personally, on the central heating systems, with the system boilers and separate expansion vessels, on the unvented side or the heating side, I never saw someone to use service valve. What is the service valve? A little valve, we isolate the water from underneath of the expansion vessel, drain the water which is possibly inside on the expansion vessel, charge with a special pump the expansion vessel on the necessary pressure. It depends what pressure we have from the expansion vessel or the heating expansion vessel, and check. Because that's the only way to test it. I never see that valves again, guys. Don't ask me if someone's check. They don't check, and I'm really afraid they don't know how to check it as well. Let's go to the next question. So the answer to this one is not regularly, but as we're getting older, could be on 6th year or 5th year. It also depends on what's the use of the system. What is the PRV safety valve and how do we know if that's leaking? Yes, the PRV valve is a little valve which is going behind of the boiler, outside of the wall. And if it's winter, the only way to understand if that's leaking or not is just to grab a bag, food bag, and with a cable tied or some way to tie it. And if that's getting full of water, that means that's leaking. And if that's leaking, means the pressure lift pipe let by the first stage. And of course, the way the PRV triggered is the expansion vessel gone. Next question, why the boiler service is not just a cleaning, but full safety check? Yes, we have to clean the condense trap, we have to clean the chamber if necessary. We have to do the visual inspection, but that's something quite critical. Safety check is also to make sure if we have any carbon monoxide alarm, which is strongly recommended, and for me it's necessary, it works, yes, not. And if we have carbon monoxide alarm, Do we know when we have to replace the batteries? Do we keep some records? Do we write on it that we installed it that day? Is it in the correct distance? Is in the correct height? Because I see carbon monoxide alarm, let's say this is the one. The carbon monoxide alarm has to go as high as possible, and all I can see is someone's put it next to the boiler. Hey, it's not working like that. And again, I can see every day things. I'm not sure if some don't know this, because if you open the manual from the carbon monoxide alarm, first of all, tells you where you have to fit it, or if they don't want, or they don't care, I don't know. But when I tried to explain to the customer told me, no one's told me that. Next one, why the boiler service is no 8. Question, what are the most common reasons for the boiler becomes noisy? Yes, air loss, sludge, and the age of the boiler. As we getting older, the boiler getting more noisy because we have mechanical parts like the fan, like the circulation pump. Unfortunately, as we getting older, especially the circulation pump, the impeller, getting full lap from the lamp scales if the system is not being flushed or if the installation is very old. And this one creates a lot of vibrations. Next questions. Should you keep the boiler on eco mode or a comfort mode? I don't think so, guys. There are big difference, but I strongly recommend the eco mode for me. What does the magnetic filter do, and what is important? Yes. Let's start. What is magnet filter? The magnet filter is just a filter. We have to start to explain a little bit the whole situation from scratch. Every system which circulates water, we have conductivity of the water. The conductivity of the dissimilar metals which exist on the system create corrosion. The corrosion, it's a small piece of metal corroded and start to circulate on the system, and that creates the sludge. In this case, because we have that sludge, the magnet can catch some of these metal parts. The magnet, for example, cannot magnetize aluminium, cannot magnetize magnet cannot magnetize all the metal, but it's very important to magnetize some of the metal. That's why we have the filter as well, which catch all the rest when the magnet cannot catch. As a result, yes, if the question is what does the magnet magnetize the sludge, the metal sludge, and if that's important, yes, it is important, but we don't sort the whole problems with the magnetic filter. We sort the majority. Next question. How do you know if they need power flush or just chemical flush? Whoa, nice question. Right. Power flush, we need the installation getting very old and some of the radiators are not working. And we have to use special power machines to circulate the water, vibrate the radiators, and get rid of the sludge. Chemical flush is when we do, for example, a new installation, and we have to make sure we clean the system for any other chemical products, and we add the necessary our chemical products, which we know what's the amount and what's the quality we need to use it. And what's the next question? Why the correct system pressure is essential? Yes, absolutely. If the pressure is quite low, the circulation pump cannot really divert in the efficiency as has to be the water. As a result, low water pressure means low circulation and massive energy losses as well. The correct pressure is anything between 1 and 1.5 bars. What signs show that your boiler is starting to age? Yes, it's just, if we're talking about the nice normal installation, 2 years old, we are alert about that. Next one, when does it make sense to repair and when to replace the boiler? Yes. Again, the engineer can see, for example, if the boiler works, for example, 1 hour per day or 15 hours per day. And if the age is above 12 years old, yes, we have to consider to replace the boiler if it works many hours a day. But if there is a boiler in a holiday house and we go every weekend and it is 15, 16 years old and the installation was fine, I don't think so we have to replace. We can repair it. It's safe to use gas fire without regular service. So guys, that's the most important thing. Gas fire is the most dangerous thing. If you use gas fire, for example, and you don't make the safety checks, if a bird make a nest on the chimney, unfortunately, the products of combustion can come back to you, and if you breathe it, unfortunately, that can kill you. So yes, it's critical to have annual service, minimum annual service, I'm going to say. How can you improve the radiator performance in the winter? There is not something magic. If the system is in good condition, that's it. What's the right way to set up the room thermostat schedule? Yes, depends of your habits. If you work from home, if you're all day at home, it's better to live in the certain temperature during the day, and then you drop down the temperature during the night. But if you come at your home just for 2 hours before you sleep and just set up the temperature before you come to the house, and then you go for sleep, that's it. And next question, how do outdoor temperatures affect the energy usage? Of course, guys, if it's minus 10 outside, we have to use more hours to heat up our houses. What should every family know about the boiler maintenance before winter arrives? Yes. It's really critical before the winter comes to do the boiler service, because first of all, we prevent a lot of things. Second, it's very difficult to find engineers available in the winter because we run out for breakdowns. And that everything you have to know for about the customer section, and we'll go to the engineer section. And let's start with the 10 questions from the engineers. What is the correct seconds of operation on the combi boiler? I would like to be honest, guys. You asked me to send you a lot of PDFs. I promise you I will do that. I create a PDF now, and I will create a link as well below this video. And you can click on the link and you can take the PDF. Because when I start to do the videos, I didn't expect so many engineers to ask me this thing. And I think it's really important to create a PDF, and free of charge, of course. Every engineer can click on the link and receive it. When is the combustion analysis required during the boiler service? The combustion analysis, guys, give us instantly hundreds of information. If the fan works properly, if the gas valve works properly, if the pressure of the gas is correctly, if the setup of the fluid is fine, is the most important thing. And now with all that digital gas analyzers, we have the option to see everything. Where does magnetic most common build up inside the heating system? On the return of the boiler, if I understand correct the question, guys, right? What the common mistakes occur when adjust a gas valve? First of all, it's not good to adjust gas valve, guys. We have to stick to the manufacturer standards. So I don't want to go further. When should the expansion vessel be replaced? Instead, simply recharge it. After 7 to 8 years, we have to be cautious. We can recharge, but it's better to replace for me. What flow temperature is recommended to the maximum efficiency of the system boilers? Anything between 55, 65 is okay. How do we distribute between the block plate and heat exchangers fault divert valve? Two things, guys. If we have water flow fluctuation, if we go underneath of the combi boiler and switch off flow return, and the temperature on the system stays stable, the problem is in the valve diverter. If we do that and the temperature still fluctuated, depends what boiler we have, but if we have Baxi boiler, we have to change first of all the temperature sensor, and on the last thing, we have to change the heat exchange plate. That's the sequence. And the last question is, what's the most reliable inhibitor for system with the mixed metals? Sorry, guys, I cannot answer these questions because I have to say specific makes, which unless they pay me, I don't gonna say. But bear in mind, any inhibitor in the market, in the UK market, is reliable. I hope you like it. Have a great evening. See you.